Mario Tennis on N64 is Transfer Pak compatible with the Gameboy Color version. Before connecting the console version to the handheld version, there must be save data on the Gameboy Color cartridge. Ideally, it's best to play the handheld version for a while so your characters are leveled up, but I'll come back to this in a moment. So once there's campaign save data on the Gameboy Color cartridge, insert the game into the N64 Transfer Pak, connect it to controller number 1, and turn on the power on the console version. If you insert the Transfer Pak while the N64 is already on, it won't work. Okay, so if you follow these steps, the Transfer Pak option becomes available on the main menu. The first time the Transfer Pak is used, it's best to choose the Game Boy to N64 option. Following the on-screen prompts, the character data from the Game Boy RPG mode gets inserted into the N64 game. So now you can play as Alex or Harry in full polygonal 3D. Just keep in mind you'll need to start a second save file and repeat these steps to unlock Nina and Kate, since each save slot can only contain one set of characters and not the other. Now that your Game Boy Color characters have been pushed to the N64 game, they can be used like any other character. Playing as these non-Mario human characters in the N64 version will accrue experience points which can be transferred back into the handheld version. To do this, select the N64 to Game Boy option on the Transfer Pak screen. Then, the next time you fire up the Game Boy game, allocating the N64 experience points is the first thing that pops up. Just keep in mind you won't get much unless you play a longer tournament mode. Also, the first time you make the Transfer Pak connection, Yoshi, Wario, Waluigi, and Bowser, along with their respective minigames, get unlocked in the Game Boy Color version. And if I'm not mistaken, I believe this is the only way to unlock these characters in the handheld game. Essentially acting as DLC, unlocking these Mario characters might actually be the best aspect of using the Transfer Pak in Mario Tennis. Okay, so let's quickly recap. Play the Game Boy's RPG campaign. That character data can then be uploaded into the N64 version. Then you can play as those characters in the console version to optionally gain XP that can be transferred back into the handheld version to gain levels a little faster while playing on the big screen. And just to be clear, there is no experience point system in the N64 title, but both versions benefit by using the Transfer Pak. You get XP and 4 unlockable Mario characters in the GBC version, and you could play as those non-Mario human characters in 3D in the N64 game. But here's the important detail. Yes, you gain levels in the Game Boy version, but it isn't like a true RPG. For example, by increasing one category of stats, there's a good chance another stat or two will actually decrease. You see how increasing one category causes arrows to point down in another? So yeah, your character does get a little faster and a little better, but it's a slow, progressive give and take. And yes, there is a noticeable difference in the ability of your growing character. When you first start, it can be a struggle to win a single match. Only by grinding the minigames can you gain levels to run faster, hit better shots, and be more responsive. So why is this stat-based detail incredibly important to note? Because it sucks playing as these human characters when compared against any Mario character. Meaning, you're gonna get smoked if you play as Alex, Harry, Nina, or Kate. You simply aren't fast enough, you can't hit accurate shots, and you have significantly decreased response time. Unless you clear the Game Boy game after hours of play, strategically min-maxing their stats, losing is practically guaranteed when playing as these Game Boy exclusive characters. Plus, let's just be honest, does anyone want to play as these forgotten, nothing special, humanish characters when you can play as any Nintendo character? You know, the ones that are memorable and have personality? And if I had to guess, I think this is why the Game Boy Color characters are not unlocked in the N64 Switch Online version of Mario Tennis. If they were unlocked by default, you wouldn't be able to win, as they would be either underpowered or their stats would vary wildly since the player controls how they level up. And again, playing as these forgotten nobodies isn't very fun when you can play as a green dinosaur, a hulking dragon, or a powerful ape. At the same time, I think this is why the extra Mario characters are unlocked by default in the Switch Online Game Boy version of Mario Tennis. Because playing as Mario characters should be the highlight and they don't unbalance the experience. However, Mario himself, the main character on the front of the box, isn't even in the game until the very end, which is kinda weird and a little misleading. Now, like so many other Mario Tennis players and enthusiasts, I think it would be cool if Nintendo included a true Transfer Pak feature that can communicate between the N64 and Game Boy Switch Online apps. But at the same time, I understand implementing this feature through emulation would be a headache, a feature that probably wasn't used much to begin with back in the N64 era. Make no mistake, the Transfer Pak feature and the overall idea is actually really creative. Being able to play as and level up your character across 2 different versions and unlock a bonus or 2 along the way is unique and forward-thinking, and it gives players a reason to play and buy both versions. To get the most out of these games, yeah, using the Transfer Pak does provide a worthwhile incentive. Just keep in mind you'll need to play through pretty much all of the Gameboy Color's Quest, single and doubles to have a chance to compete against the roster of Mushroom Kingdom athletes. But that's okay because Mario Tennis on Game Boy Color is honestly, in my opinion, one of the best sports games of all time. The RPG mode is innovative, it plays well despite only having 2 buttons, the mini-games are fun distractions, it supports multiplayer over the link cable, and the presentation is top shelf. The menu music alone is worth a purchase. The way I see it, the Mario Tennis Transfer Pak functionality is basically the optional bonus to an already stellar handheld tennis game. You don't need it to enjoy it, but it's there for those dedicated players who want to dig a little deeper. Camelot also repeated this functionality in the Mario Golf titles, and it essentially paved the way for many GameCube to Game Boy Advance link cable functionality. EA, for example, did plenty of the play the handheld version to upload the content into the console version during the GameCube era. SXX, Tiger Woods, even the Harry Potter games. I've covered these unique linking features with their own videos. Links will be in the description if you wanted to learn more about Cube to GBA linking because it's basically the successor to the Transfer Pak. But what do you think? Are you a fan of the Mario Tennis series? Did you ever try the Transfer Pak functionality? And what sports games are your favorite? Let me know in the comments. And for tons more weird linking content, like seeing every Game Boy Advance game that supports the Single-Pak link mode and even multiplayer Neogeo Pocket Color games, see the links to my dedicated playlist in the description. Until next time, thank you for watching, and special thanks to my Patreon supporters, and game on!
Game, set, and